Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? We'll wait for a few of you guys to show up. Talk about this video that I seen, Shannon Briggs and Tyson Fury. I actually like the idea of this fight, man. Tyson Fury's been out the ring. Tyson Fury's been out the ring for a while. We know that last time he was in the ring was against Vladimir Klitschko. Um, so it's been quite a while, man. It's been quite a while for Tyson Fury. Long time ago, right? Since we've seen him in the ring, man. So if he were to come back and he were to take this fight with Shannon Briggs, I think this would be a good thing for him. Even his first fight back, maybe he wants something a little bit sooner. Probably something in July. But I mean, why even fight a journeyman? Because in my opinion, uh, I would way rather see Tyson Fury. I mean, not that his plan is to come back and fight a journeyman, but I'm saying I can see that happening, being that he's been out for a few years here, to come back, fight a journeyman, get his quote, feet wet, and get back in the rhythm of things. But I would way rather see him fight Shannon Briggs than fight some obscure guy that we know he's going to win. Even in this fight with Briggs, a lot of people would favor Shannon Briggs, or not Shannon Briggs, but Tyson Fury rather, and but there's still some intrigue there. I mean, Shannon Briggs is up there in age. I mean, he's 47 years old. I think Tyson Fury's about 30. So he's definitely the junior going into this fight, man. But I like the approach that Shannon Briggs took. Fury was his Instagram live, or yeah, I believe he's on Instagram live, and Briggs tagged in and they started talking, and Shannon Briggs said he wants to fight him, and Fury said, "Hey man, I'll send you a contract for let's get it on in September." Now it was a friendly conversation, and I could tell Shannon was trying to be, respect. Both guys were respecting each other. I really do think deep down they respect each other. I think Fury really does respect the history of the sport. He knows that Shannon Briggs was one of them dudes back in his day, you know. So I think he does have respect. I think he is inspired from a lot of fighters are inspired from the Let's Go champ. Look at my channel. You know what I mean? I'm just a fan. I got Shannon Briggs intro on my videos, the Let's Go champ theme, so I think he does respect him. So I don't think, he was wanted to disrespect him. He was asking for the fight. But I can tell Briggs was very serious about, even though they're respecting each other, he was very serious about, hey man, I want to fight you. Let's make it happen. Let's send a contract. And funny enough, he was on the stool taking a shit when he tagged in on Tyson Fury's Instagram live. But Shannon Briggs strikes again, man. To me, he is the number one self promoter in all of boxing. And he's not even really fighting. He fought Emilio Zarate. What was that, on the David Haye, Arnold Jai undercard a couple years ago, and he hasn't fought since. We know David Haye promised him a fight, and then after after Briggs put Zarate down, I believe it was a body shot, David Haye kind of started to ignore him. Or no, he did ignore him. He even came, they were in the same venues, and Briggs would try to walk up to him, and David Haye was literally walking past him like he didn't hear him talking to him. To almost, it was like embarrassing almost. Like, come on, Haye, like you see the dude trying to get you. Who else is yelling "Let's go, champ"? You know what I mean? That's Shannon Briggs, but Haye was ignoring him, looking for bigger money fights, and David Haye got what he wanted. Fights for bigger money, and he lost both of those fights in a row to Tony Bellew. Shouts out to Tony Bellew. You know what I mean? But I like this idea, man. I really do. Now Briggs, even earlier this year, or I'm sorry, earlier or middle of last year, if you guys remember, he was talking about for November, meaning November of 2017, that he was going to try to fight Povetkin, that his teams and Povetkin's team were in talks. And then I believe Povetkin and his team ended up choosing Radinko. That's when they fought Radinko. They fought Radinko, and then Briggs and his team Briggs was saying his team is still in contact with Povetkin, so on and so forth. And we know Povetkin, his team chose a different route. Guys like Christian Hammer and, and then they fought David Price recently here. So, I like this matchup, man. Now, obviously, I'm picking Tyson Fury to win this fight. I think the first couple rounds will be interesting just because we know that Briggs has power. Now, he hasn't been in the ring with anybody of, of note since Vitali, and that was 8 years ago. Now, you got to remember, though, after that, when he did come back in 2014, those years he took off, man. According to Shannon Briggs, he had got close to 400 pounds. He had suicidal thoughts. I mean, this is all from him. I'm not making this up. So he was going through a lot in his life, man. It wasn't even about boxing and fighting somebody of note. It was just getting his life in order, man. That's why I like his story. Damn the boxing part. Just a person that can come back from that type of adversity in their life, man, and to do anything positive, what I mean, is a huge plus in my opinion. But anyways, when he did come back from that Vitali beating that he took, he was fighting obscure guys, right? He even had a draw with Rafael Zambanu Love, but everybody else he pretty much stopped in 1 or 2 rounds. He was fighting guys like Mike Maroney and guys like that, man. Zambanu Love though, he just I believe Love lost his last 2 fights by stoppage. I believe he lost to Ustinov by stoppage and the Olympian for Filip Herkovich, a guy who I'm high on, by stoppage, right? But I've also seen him take Andrew Ruiz Jr. the distance. I've seen him take Charles Martin to the 10th round, and he got stopped in the 10th, but he took him 10. I've seen him take Otto Wallen, one of the Swedish prospects who just beat Adrian Granat. Seen him take him the full distance. And I want to say Molina. He took a few guys at this, and now, of course, he's been knocked out, right? He's had his fair share of knockouts. I know Anthony Joshua knocked him out, so I'm not saying he's the most durable guy. But, those type of guys that Shannon Briggs have been fighting since he's came back, man. But we did want to see him fight David Haye. Now, he did have some opportunities to slip through his fingers. We know when he was preparing for the Lucas Brown fight, when they were supposed to fight for that regular WBA title, Lucas Brown ended up failing the test. And then Shannon Briggs had his thing where he failed a test. I believe it was something his his asthma medicine or something. Now we know he's been battling asthma, but I'm gonna stay consistent though, man. You got to know what's what. You have to know what goes into these tests, what they're testing for. You and your team or your doctor, your physician, whoever it is. So I'm not making an excuse from Shannon, but he did fail a test, regardless of what it was, to fight Fred Kendo. Now Fred is getting ready to fight Manuel Char. You know what I mean? Char is the regular WBA. That sounds ridiculous. The regular heavyweight, the regular WBA champion or whatever. But anyways, though, so yeah, so those 2 fights kind of slipped through Briggs' fingers. Now he's trying to come back, or he's trying to get Tyson Fury on his comeback. Could Tyson Fury have some ring rust? Of course. He's human, man. As good as he is, he's human. You just can't, especially the condition that Tyson Fury's in. He's working his way back into shape. So it's not like, Tyson Fury's been staying on the grind, staying in the gym. I mean? He's just now got back into the gym. And he was in the gym sporadically throughout the last few years. But you know how Tyson Fury would do. He'll be on social media, show that he's jogging and running and getting his road work in and sparring Daniel Dubois for a few rounds. And then 4 months go by and he looks larger than he did the last time we seen him. So he was kind of pretty much doing that, man. Then he had his binges, drinking and partying and drugs and stuff like that. So he's just now, at least from the looks of it, looking at his physique, that he's getting back into the life of a fighter, So, but with that said, though, I think he'll be rusty. And I think the few rounds, you have to respect Shannon Briggs. He's one of those guys where, yes, he's aging. And they say the power is the last thing to go. Sometimes that isn't always true because sometimes a guy who was known for power, his shots just don't have the same thunder on them that they used to. He can't turn them over as quickly or as hard. You know what I mean? It just didn't have the thunder that they used to. But Briggs, to me, is different. Although we haven't seen it against elite competition, but when he is landing on guys, man, they do look like pretty hard thudding shots. When I watch him train, I've seen Briggs spar Gregory Corbin, a few guys out in the heavyweight factory, man, and I know it's sparring. Seems to still have pretty quick hands. Now, can he keep that up in round 8, round 9, round 10? I don't know. I believe it's an uphill battle for the old, for the old timer, man. But Tyson Fury's style is just all wrong for Shannon. Even if Shannon was in his prime, a guy that can move. I think he'll just create nightmares for Shannon Briggs, especially if Briggs is looking for that one home run punch. I think Tyson Fury has the ability to use his legs, even if he is rusty, to stay out the way. But what we do know is Tyson Fury. He has been dropped before. Stephen Cunningham dropped with a right hand, and that's one of the shots that Briggs would try to land. Now, Fury got up and put Cunningham on his back. That was a damn entertaining fight. But we know Fury got up, put him on his back. You know what I mean? Vitaly Klitschko couldn't put him down because he used those legs. You know, so but is that Tyson Fury still around? The one that fought Klitschko? Is he still around? That's what we'll be. That's the interesting thing about this whole situation is that Tyson Fury still around. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat really quick. Let me see here. Oasis One says Briggs get knocked out in the first round. I don't know, man. I don't think Tyson Fury's knocking nobody out in the first round. I just don't see that, bro. I mean, I understand that's your opinion. I just don't see him knocking nobody out in the first round, though. Even if he fights a guy that's I'm trying to think of a guy I can use example. Even like a Mike Mallow or a Joey Bell or uh, somebody like that. I still don't see him knocking nobody out in the first round. I see him outboxing somebody and maybe putting him, if he can outbox him, hurt him off his back foot, and then jumping on him to get him out of there. I can see that. But first round, I don't see that. To me, that's Briggs when he's his most fresh. He'll be his freshest in the first round. And I think if Tyson Fury try to come up and slug with him, this shit, Briggs can still punch. You know what I mean? If there's one thing he still can do, I believe is still crack with his right hand. I think Fury will have a chance to stop him if he can drag him to later rounds, pot shot. I mean, even though Tyson Fury is known as a huge power puncher, he still is 260-pound grown ass man. You know what I mean? If he can tire you out and you're dead tired, I think Tyson Fury has the ability to stop a guy that's dead tired. But first round, I'm not seeing that. Somebody says, to be honest, this wouldn't interest me, but would be a good warm up. Yeah, it wouldn't. This fight wouldn't interest everybody. You know what I mean? But I think it's a decent fight, especially if it's just his first fight back. Because like I said, I would just way rather see this, the build up, the intrigue of damn, those first 2 rounds, man, it's gonna be pretty interesting if he land that right hand. At least we have that to go off of instead of Tyson Fury versus Journeyman or Tyson Fury versus just somebody that without a doubt that the guy has no chance to outbox Fury or land anything of, any significant punch. Panther Foster said, would Shannon even pass the drugs test? Hopefully he would, man. I know the last thing, again, I'm not making no excuses, just saying what they said it was, his asthma medicine or some shit. So, hopefully he would, man. Hopefully he would. If not, then hey, we got to move on to the next. Joseph Haran says Briggs can definitely take a punch, so it wouldn't be a walkover. Definitely, especially it's perceived that Tyson Fury's not a huge power puncher. I definitely think he can take what Tyson Fury can dish out at least early. Now going into middle rounds when he starts to huffing and puffing, and who knows? Who knows? Panther Foster says that's the whole trouble. He can take a punch and will take a lot of punches, but won't land anything on Tyson. Again, do we still have the same Tyson Fury, the guy that can put hands on you and get out the way before you hit him? Or will he be a little rusty where he can hit you, and as he's trying to get out the way, he's getting caught with a shot or two? You know what I'm saying? Boxing to me, man, just like a lot of sports, you can be like Michael Jordan, for instance, right? He took a year and a half off, whatever, played baseball, came back. Although he put up to some other players all-star numbers of them, his season when he came back, that last little part of the season when he came back, and the year that they lost to Orlando Magic in the playoffs, a lot of guys, probably 95% of any NBA player in all-time history would love the numbers that he had from that season. And he was rusty as hell, right? But we know that wasn't the real MJ. It's like Tyson Fury. He's going to be a little rusty, man. You just can't not fight and then come back and just, But again, it's just against Shannon Briggs. Not like he's getting in there against Joshua, Wilder, Parker, Ortiz, some of the guys that's been White, Miller, some of the guys have been more active and fighting over the last few years while he's been sitting out. But at the same time, though, I do believe in rust. I really do. Um, Again, it's Shannon Briggs in front of him, though, an older guy who he should be able to outbox, but it's still some rust there. Six Williams says, laugh out loud. Joseph Haran says, first fight back in over 2 years, might land more than you think. He might. He might. Again, we just here chopping it up, man. He might not, but I do believe in ring rust. But shit, to tell you the truth, Shannon Briggs might have some ring rust. He hasn't been in there in a while, and when he does get in there, it's first round, second round TKO. He's hitting guys, and they're taking that shot, and they don't want no more. You know what I mean? But Shannon Briggs has been staying in shape. Now, some of you may argue the fact that well, he failed a drug test, so it must be the peds helping him, or whatever, so on and so forth. But he has been staying in shape. That's one thing I can say. I posted plenty of videos, especially last year when I was posting damn near every Shannon Briggs Instagram video. The dude, he probably has a room in the heavyweight factory, like literally. It wouldn't surprise me if Shannon Briggs had a bed in the heavyweight factory, because the dude just stays in the heavyweight factory. He just like he stays there. He's like I don't know, man. He just stays in the heavyweight factory. 22 people watching, 5 thumbs up. Come on, y'all. Let me get some thumbs up, man. I know if it's some of you UK fans probably salty at me from my opinion about the Joshua Wilder situation from yesterday. Some of y'all need to get off of that, man. That's just my opinion about that situation. You guys get what I'm saying? We're going to stop coming to the channel thinking that, oh, I usually agree with Mr. Boxing about, 9 out of 10 things. And then when we disagree about something, people want to unsub, which is fine. I can't make nobody stay sub to my channel. But at the same time, man, we just disagree. You know what I'm saying? You guys say you're boxing fans, you enjoy my channel. But it's funny because some of you guys, when you say you're going to unsub and all that, I'll look at the commenter's name and I'll scratch my head like, damn, I haven't seen that dude me leave a comment since the last time I had a criticism of Eddie Hearn. Where are you guys at when I'm covering prospects, obscure heavyweight fights that nobody cares about except for a few of us? Where are you guys when I'm doing my 1970s breakdown, talking about Jimmy Young and Ken Norton? Where are you guys for that? You're not there. You only come around when it's a Eddie Hearn, Joshua, something I don't agree with what they said. Then here you come saying, you used to like my channel. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. And this isn't to all you guys. It's to those fake subs, man. Fake subs. Because if you can't respect that we're just going to disagree, then unsub. I'm not a person you're going to agree with all the time. I'm not. For example, Ali, Holmes, and Foreman are the best fighters I've ever seen in my life. Do you agree with me? You might agree maybe Ali, right? But I believe Holmes, Foreman, and Ali are the best fighters, period. Regardless of weight class, regardless of era. Those are my favorite fighters. I think they're the best that I've ever seen. So are you going to unsub now? Come on, man. Moving on. Grandmaster Flash says, has the fight been announced? Would be surprised if he'll fight Briggs first. It will more likely be a complete unknown. Could be. They're talking about September. That's why, that's why I was saying maybe he can get somebody. Well, shit, June is what, next month? So I don't know. He could probably get one little unknown name guy in there in June and then come back in September. But they're talking about September. He said he'll send the contract. This is what they were talking about on Instagram, man. So we'll see. Grandmaster Flash says, yeah, that Bulgarian cab driver, if something is more likely. Let me see here. Renault Zoro, what's up, man? He says Briggs versus Fury, question mark. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Both guys were talking about on Instagram Live together, not just in comment sections. Briggs was actually sitting down taking a shit, and he tagged in to Fury was going live on his Instagram, and he tagged in, and they were talking to each other, and they're talking about September. So, but we'll see, though. It was a friendly conversation, but you can tell Briggs was serious, and Fury seemed serious. Goat Rev Davis says, like to see Tyson Fury versus Rodinko, guaranteed to go rounds, do a similar job to his cousin Huey. Yes, I would definitely, I could definitely see Andre Rodinko going 12 rounds. That dude's a tough dude. I mean, he just went 12 with Povetkin. He took Was it Briggs? No, not Briggs. Brown. Him and Lucas Brown went the distance. Him and Fury went the distance. He will go the distance, man. He will give you rounds. He's a tough dude. One thing, if I was Tyson Fury, I would worry about is the head clash. Rodinko, when he gets in, especially like the with the fight with Fury, I know the fight with Brown. There's always cuts and headbutts and just his style, man. You know, he's a shorter heavyweight. He's not a short guy, but he's a shorter heavyweight. Well, shit, for heavyweights, he is short. But just his style, his punching technique, and when he gets in close, he can lead with his head a little bit. So Fury, always a taller guy, will still want to watch out to headbutts to the chin, to the mouth. You know what I mean? Rodinko has a nasty style, man, but I can see him going rounds. I think he will make Tyson go the full round, the full whatever 10, 12 rounds. Salty Sally says Briggs put love down in that fight. Yeah, it went the distance though. You know, Savannah Love went the distance with him. AZ says he might knock Briggs out, but not in the first. Yeah, that's what I think. Probably middle rounds. Probably in the middle rounds. Callie Sauerland, huh? He says he was never the same. I don't know what that means. Okay. D. Obinuli, what's good, man? He says Bellew will get killed. He says, I hope Bellew doesn't retire and he faces Gassiev. Oh, D. Obinuli, so you just assuming that Gassiev gonna beat Usyk, huh? Or are you saying whether he beats Usyk or not? Because I wouldn't see Bellew fighting the loser of the fight between Usyk and Gassiev right away. That wouldn't, to me, wouldn't make sense. Well, I guess it's how he gets his loss. You know, if it's a controversial loss or something. But regardless of that fact, though, or regardless of that, whatever were to happen between Usyk and Gassiev, I think that's a good fight between Gassiev and Bellew. Gold Rev Davis says, I think Tyson has an unfair tag of lacking good power. Chisora, Hammer, and Vlad did not enjoy those shots. And they definitely didn't enjoy his movement. I think he has respectable power. The dude is still 6'9", 260 pounds. You know what I mean? Or I don't think he's 6'9", though. I really don't. Because when he was standing next to Klitschko, he looked like about the same height, maybe an inch taller. But what really made me think he's not 6'9" is when he stood next to David Price in every photo that I've seen. And I've seen about 4 or 5 photos of them standing next to each other. They list Price as 6'8", and Price looked like he at least has an inch on him. But regardless of the fact, he's still a tall dude. You know what I mean? He's still whatever, between 6'7", 6'8", whatever, right? But he's 260 pounds, man. So a guy that big start landing on your chin and you're tired, probably knock you out. Or just landing on your chin enough, probably knock you out. P Money was good, man. He says, salute Mr. Boxing. If this fight happens, it would be a hell of a build-up. It would be. And a good test to see if Fury still has it or if he needs to hang them up. Yeah, if he went in there and struggled with Shannon, that wouldn't be a good look. Even though Shannon, like I said, was one of them dudes back in his day, but he's 47 years old, hasn't been in there where anybody significant in literally 10 years, almost 10 years when he fought Vitali. Yeah, that. But you know what, man, was really making me think about this is Shannon and him and Brown, man, because we know that fight got canceled because Brown failed the drug test. But, man, I'm really curious of how I think Shannon would have knocked him out. Now seeing what Brown, the way he looked against Dillian White. Now, I'm not, again, Dillian White, Briggs, two different fighters. Obviously, they're in two different points of their career right now where White is in his prime right now and Briggs is past his prime. But just the shot that White was able to land on Brown, those are the type of shots that Briggs would have been looking for the first few rounds of that fight if they were to fight each other. And Brown isn't the best mover. And who knows the type of shape he would have came in. If he would have came in the shape he came in with White and he's been inactive, that would have been interesting because I was favoring Brown in that fight. But, man, now I'm just wondering about that now. James Davies says, have watched a lot of Fury fights, doesn't really sit on his punches, can't believe a man of his size doesn't have power. Well, yeah, and I've heard Tyson Fury say that Michael Spinks was one of the guys he looked up to. You know what I mean? So when you hear something like that, especially Spinks when he was at heavyweight, although he he put the beat down on Tankstead and Cooney and guys like that, but Spinks wasn't really known as like vicious knockout puncher when he moved up to heavyweight. Six Williams says, "I'm here. I leave likes." That's what's up, man. P Money says, "Let's go, champ." Six Williams says, "Some of these new boxers need to take notes of Briggs' workout ethics." Yeah, the dude lives in the gym, man. That's one thing I can say. Six Williams says, "Watch your videos." That's what's up, man. AZ said, "Hearn's a funny guy. How can anyone dislike him is beyond me." I don't dislike him as far as like, it's just that sometimes I think he tells lies, man, and it just frustrates me that he lies. Um, but he's a promoter. Promoters lie. See, that's the thing. A lot of fans think like that. I think that he's the only promoter that lied. No, that's their job, to overhype things, to be a promoter, to overhype shit, to make shit seem larger than life. That's their job. You know what I mean? But he just comes across a little smug to me, and this is my opinion. This is what I get from it. When it comes to dealing with Americans, as far as the press or the fans, when we ask questions, he comes across like we're idiots. That's just the feeling I get when I listen to him talk. Maybe, it's a cultural thing where I'm not really getting his sarcasm and sense of humor. Okay, fine. But sometimes it come across like he thinks like we're idiots over here, or like we're slow, or he's just so much smarter than us. And um, that's just the vibe I get. It's just the vibe I get, man. Could I be wrong? Whatever. But it's the vibe that I get. But I do think he has the best interest of his fighters, but I think he has the best interest of himself too. Like a lot of promoters, Don King was one. I mean, Aram. It's not just a Eddie Hearn thing; it's a promoter thing. You know what I mean? And I never was really uh, like fans of promoters. There's promoters I didn't mind, like Don King, when he used to, slick talk and talk fast and rhyming words and doing this thing and being, trying to, have a larger than life, charismatic personality. It was funny, but I knew, listening to guys like Tim Witherspoon and Mike Tyson and all these guys who he fucked when it came to money, I thought that was bogus. Now, some of you may blame the fighter from not knowing their business, but a lot of these guys come from nothing, and Don King knows they come from nothing. Don King was known for showing up to, these dudes' houses, man, with 40,000 in a duffel bag. To them, this like, damn, 40 grand right here, that should look like $1 million to them. But knowing Don King, knowing the back of his mind, he needs to get his dude 200,000 or 300,000 or whatever, how much they really should have got. You know what I mean? So promoters, I'm pro fighter. I'm not promoter. I'm pro fighter. I'm always for the fighter, man. So that's where my discrepancies come in with Eddie Hearn. But I don't have nothing personal. I don't even know the guy like that. How can I have something personal against him? Not that you said that, whoever left that comment, but I don't have nothing personal against him. I just know he's full of shit sometimes. Six Williams says Holmes is my favorite, man. Holmes was that dude, man. You go back and watch Larry Holmes. I'm sure you have. But for some of you that really haven't watched the fights, besides just little highlights here and there, or maybe like the Ken Norton fight or the Mike Tyson, his big fights. But you go back and watch those Ronaldo Snipes fights and the fights he had with Shavers and David Bay and Carla Truth Williams, and you go on and on, right? It's funny how the media, especially like Howard Cosell and even like a young Larry Merchant, were talking about Larry Holmes when he was coming up. You would have thought you were watching a bum. This is why I take what the media says with a grain of salt, because when guys are coming up, listen to the commentary on Larry Holmes' old fights before he became champ or his first little few title defenses. I mean, watered down Ali. I was hearing, how long will he be champ? Can he last? He doesn't have power. I mean, you would have thought you were watching a bum that was going to lose his title in his next fight. Then as he started to make those title defenses, even a fight like with Mike Weaver, the fights he would get hurt, like the Snipes fight where he'll get hurt, knocked down, get up, win the fight in a drag out war. You know what I mean? He started to get their respect more and more. But this is why I like to have my own perception of fighters, and I don't listen to media and articles. I'll read them and I'll do videos about them, but I do my own research and look at what I see, man. So just like for Wilder, for example, right? People, He doesn't have skill. He's this, he's that. Talking about all his flaws. I look at it different. I look at all these guys different, man. But Holmes is just one. I mean, and even Ali when he was coming up, loudmouth and you know, the media usually has it rough. I'm not gonna say for everybody, but for a lot of fighters, they have it rough for them when they first start out their career. It's almost like the media doesn't know what the fuck they're watching. Muhammad G was good. He says Charles Martin versus Joseph Parker. I'm going with Parker in that one. I'm going with JP in that one. You know, that fight was when Martin was when he had that IBF strap and he was looking at fights, they actually offered that fight to Joseph Parker. Problem is Parker and his team couldn't put up enough money to get that fight. And Martin was willing to go to New Zealand too, just that they couldn't put up enough money. And then we know when Hearn and AJ got offered the fight, they did have enough money or what Martin was looking for, so he went with the AJ fight. But yeah, Parker comes out aggressive in that fight. I think that'll be an interesting fight because I think Martin would have. It's hard to say with Charles, man. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say. The best I've seen Charles Martin was the Joey Daweko fight. That's the best I've seen him. And we know that Parker's a different fighter than Daweko. Not to shit on Daweko. He just had a tough one with Jennings. He even had a draw with Jarrell Miller. But two different fighters, though. Just two different fighters. Mr. Boxing All Day. What's good, man? See you in the comments section. Stay Clint says, Briggs, I wouldn't even allow him in with Hay. Shit, I don't know why not, especially what we seen with David Hay his last few fights. David Hay's punch resistance just looked shot. And that's no knock on Bellew, it's just that David Hay, any good flush shot he got hit with, his legs started doing a little dance in that last fight. And even the fight before it. Look, man, that's why, and Hay's another one. Hay's another guy that took years off, right? Took like, what, 5 years off? Fought Chisora, good fight, knocked him out. Took some years off, like 5 years, 4 years. Comes back, fights Mark Demore, fights Arnold Jerichai. Easy fights. Guys that went in there, well, Demore I thought was legit. He knocked him out, but Jerichai looked like he just wanted to call it quits, man. He looked like he wanted to call it quits. And then he went in there against a live body and Tony Bellew. That's why going into that first fight, I was like, man, I'm a favorite Hay, but I think he's going to win a close decision. And people killed me. They killed me. I don't know boxing. Who is this Yank? I remember doing that. I did it outside. I took my kids to the park and I did the vid outside. And who is this Yank? And you don't know boxing. Anybody that knows boxing knows when Hay lands on Bellew, he's going to sleep. Blah, blah. And I'm sitting here like, man, this dude's been out for 5 years on injuries. He's rusty as fuck. And he fought Jerichai and Demore. He could have literally fought those guys in the same night. Tony Bellew's a live body, man. This dude won a cruiserweight strap. He beat Makabu, like, got down, got knocked down, got up. Like, that dude's fighting a live body, man. You can't just take 5 years off and then just come back. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to be some type of rust there. Even with the great Ali, there's some type of rust there. And when you're bringing rust into a fight with a guy that's a live body, it's going to be difficult. Then going into this rematch, I pick Bellew. You know what I mean? Well, not just me, but a lot of people was picking Bellew too, you know? So I'm not so sure that Hay would just beat Shannon Briggs. Right now, I'm not. Now, when they were first talking about the fight, I was picking Hay. Because I thought he's younger, although he's been very inactive. He's a little bit younger. I think he'll be able to get Briggs to that middle round area and then do some damage. But I'm not sure about that, man. Aziz says Safiri. Oh, Safiri, yeah, the dude that used to fight at Cruiser, right? Is that who they're saying? Was it? I believe his name is Sefer Safiri, if I'm correct. And he was a cruiser, right? And he moved up to heavyweight. So yeah, that I did hear his name. That is the guy I did hear that Tyson Fury might fight. I did hear that name. Punch quote formerly. Oh, what's good? H1200. He says Bellew or Ward winner would take the Usyk fight. Man, Bellew Ward. Whew. That's a good fight. I'll favor Ward, and I could do a whole video about that style breakdown. I would favor Ward, but Bellew, that is not a gimme fight. I'll probably favor Ward like 52-48. Right now, that's a gimme fight. Now, Ward's a different. Now he's a different animal than Fury, or not Fury, but Hey, Makabu, and all the other guys that Bellew has fought in his career. Um, that's an interesting style clash right there, because he'll want to get on the inside and try to do some dirty boxing, rough him up a little bit. I think his reflexes is something that Bellew hasn't seen in a while. Um, but Bellew's confident right now. That dude's a confident dude. That's just a good fight. It's just a good fight. And the winner to fight Usyk, if Usyk gets past Gassiev, it's another good fight. Intriguing. If that goes down, I'm all for it. Sign me up, man. Yeah, AZ says Sefer Safiri. What? Yeah, yeah. I've heard of Safiri before. I think Tyson Fury beats the hell out of him. D. Obenuli says Gassiev is going to beat Usyk. I don't know, bro. I'm going with Usyk, man. I think Usyk's the best cruiserweight in the world. I've been thinking that for some years. Just because I think that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but just letting you know, I'm not just bringing that out the blue. Usyk is a guy that I was talking about in 2000 and late 2015 when I dropped my vid on him. I said, man, Usyk is a guy I think is going to be a heavyweight when it's all said and done. I think he's the best cruiser right now, even though he wasn't a title holder or none of that during that time. Kind of some foresight. You know, I just thought that he would evolve into the best cruiser, and I really think he is. He handled guys in that World Series of Boxing that he competed in when he fought guys like Junior Fa and Joe Joyce and Matteo Madungno. He fought a few guys, and he was manhandling them. I mean, easy work. And these guys are 6'6", 250 pounds, and he was making it look easy. You know what I mean? But we'll see, though. We will see. State Clint says Tyson is 6'10". I doubt that. I doubt that. I really doubt that. Paula Wells says I reckon Fury is 6'7.5". Yeah, he's somewhere in there, because I know he's shorter than David Price. All the pictures I've seen, he seems a lot shorter. State Clint says, and he towered over Klitschko. I don't recall that. When did he tower over him? I don't recall him towering over Klitschko. That's what I saw. All right. Harry Smith says, Mr. Boxing, could you perhaps do a vid in the near future doing that hypothetical where if you were president of boxing, how would you go about solving boxing's big problems, i.e. dopers, clashing mandatories, etc.? Yeah, I'll think about it. Although I've talked about it in, sporadically throughout different videos. But yeah, I should probably do a video detailing everything the way I would run boxing. I would definitely rate, one thing I would do is rate title holders and other sanctioning bodies. And I also think that the sanctioning body top 10s should all look pretty much similar, because in my opinion, I'm trying to think, I haven't looked at the rankings in about a few days here, so let me just think. I believe Tom Schwartz, right? I believe he is like number 4 right now, or number 3 by the WBO. Now, I understand when you win these sanctioning body titles, they're minor titles, like they're intercontinental titles and international titles and silver titles. You get moved up the rankings in that said sanctioning body. But at the same time, you guys know as well as I know, and no disrespect to the young German prospect, we know that Tom Schwartz is not a top 4 heavyweight. We know that. So why is he rated number 4? You guys get what I'm saying? And that should be across the whole board. The IBF usually doesn't even have a number 1 ranking. They always have guys like at number 2, number 3. It's just weird, man. Yeah, Bermain Stavern was number 15 even after the Wilder loss. You guys know as well as I know, Stavern right now isn't a top 15 heavyweight. Not right now, he's not. He's not. That should be across the board, not just in one sanctioning body, across the board. And there's so many other things that I would change about boxing, and we'll be here all day. James Davies says Fury did look taller than Wack in the sparring video. Maybe. I'm just saying when he stood next to David Price, that's when it really made me think like, damn. Then I'm thinking like maybe, Fury got some Gucci loafers on or something, and Price got some construction Timberlands on or something. Who knows? But every damn photo I've seen of them, Price looks at least an inch taller. And they list him at 6'8", so. D.O.B. Newley says, I think Fury is close to 7 feet. He towered over Vlad in their fight. He did? I don't know if he, but you know, I don't. He didn't look like he towered over him. I don't know, man. Maybe I need to watch the fight again, or maybe not. That would. No, I didn't think that fight was that bad, man. Yes, it wasn't action packed like people wanted it to, but there was a lot of little subtle things in there that was going on that I enjoyed. I'm weird like that though. Let's see, Mr. Boxing all day, man. What's up with your comments, bro? You keep retracting them. You misspelled. Oh, okay. I see your box. Okay, I see you down here. Mr. Boxing all day says George Foreman got robbed on that Briggs fight. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, man. He says I wasn't impressed with Briggs struggling with the 40-something Foreman hashtag gift. But shit, man. Especially back in those mid-90s, though, bro. Who wasn't struggling with him? Now, Foreman did get Pumpkinhead against a few guys he fought. Uh, the Stewart fight. Morrison lumped him up pretty good, but shit, man, Big George is making it difficult for a lot of guys. A lot of people thought that he lost the Schultz fight. I thought it was a close fight. Michael Moore, you know, knocked him out. So Big George was a load to handle, man. Even Evander didn't have it easy against Big George. You know what I mean? But the fight that should have happened, kind of off subject, man, is I really wanted to see this, especially in the '90s when it was like both guys were at the well, shit. Holmes went on until he was 50. You know what I mean? But both guys were kind of towards the end. I wanted to see Holmes versus Foreman, and to this day, I still believe Larry Holmes beat George Foreman, whether it's the '70s, '80s, or '90s. But yeah, man, I thought Foreman beat Briggs. Tall short one says if Fury had a tad, he says, is Fury a tad overrated? He wasn't setting the world alight before he won the titles, and he never defended them. I'll say this: before going into that Vlad fight, yes, he wasn't, but he had a mouthpiece, not literally, but he's a good talker, good skills, good size. I viewed him as a top 5 heavyweight. Did I pick him to beat Vladimir? No, I didn't. A lot of people that are sub to me did. Um, but I thought it was gonna be competitive. But I was picking Vladimir, especially what I seen what Vladimir looked like in that Jennings fight. When there was times where Jennings was walking him down. Let me repeat that. Brian Jennings put up the high guard and was walking down Vladimir. Never thought that was going to happen. But anyways, I'm a Emmanuel Stewart guy, right? You guys know that. I think he's the best trainer I've ever heard break down fights, give instructions in the corner. In his Tommy Hearn days, not just with Lennox and Vladimir, but his Tommy Hearn days. Every guy that he trained in the crunk, right? I heard an interview that he did in 2012, I believe. All you guys got to do is type in the YouTube search. Some of you probably heard this interview he did already. You could type in like Stewart, Wilder, Tyson Fury. It might pop up. He's sitting down, and this 2012, before any of these guys won a title. This one, Vlad was still the man. He said, because Vladimir is known for bringing in talent and having them spar Vladimir. That's one thing Vladimir's sparring about. He would always bring in those up-and-coming talented fighters, man, to stay sharp. He brought in Price. I believe it was Helenius. Damn, it was somebody else. And I remember Stewart said, you know what, because he was talking about all those guys. He was like, yeah, those guys are decent. He's like, but the 2 guys, I'm telling you, that have that elk that I think that's pretty much in a nutshell is what he said, that's going to win titles and be the future. This is what he said, Emmanuel Stewart, the prophet. He said it's going to be Tyson Fury. And then he said another guy from America that nobody's talking about is that kid Deontay Wilder. Those 2 guys. When I heard Emmanuel say that in 2012, I was already paying attention to Wilder and Fury and Helenius and Price and all the guys, walking all those guys. But when I heard him say it, because he's there watching them train, and Stewart isn't a bullshitter. He ain't gonna bullshit, and he's not gonna bring bullshit sparring in for his fighter. When I heard him say that, I said, man, I'm really gonna keep an eye on these 2, and he was right. So, with that said, always had faith, at least from listening to Emmanuel, that Wilder and Fury would be the future of the division. Now, he didn't get a chance to see AJ yet. Now, AJ was doing his Olympic thing. That's why, rest in peace his soul, man. But I love to hear Emmanuel Stewart's breakdown of the heavyweight division right now. Man, I'd give anything to hear that. Let me see here. A tall, short one says, think you're being a sensitive. Regards, Hearn. I'm not sure what you mean by that. James Davies says, what do you think of Bellew versus Fury? Entertaining. The build-up being entertaining. Man, that's, styles make fights, right? Bellew thinks he can knock out Tyson Fury. I think he's a little hyped up, feeling himself over this David Haye victory. But two different, the dynamics are just different, man. Way different. But again, Tony Bellew's been active. Can't count him out. He's confident. You can't count the dude out, man. I would favor Tyson Fury, but it'd be one of those fights, I'd be sitting there like, oh, man, let's just see what happens, because I'm not confident about it. I'm not fully confident. But the best Tyson Fury against the best Tony Bellew, I'm picking Tyson Fury without a doubt in that fight. But right now, coming back, first fight against Tony Bellew, I don't know. I really don't know. Just because the inactivity versus somebody that's been active and that's confident, that's really feeling themselves right now, stylistically, he can move a little bit too. And I don't think he'll have to worry about the one-hitter quitter. Now, Tony Bellew himself, this is what he said himself, that, he's not going to fight AJ. He even said that Wilder, that he would get knocked out. This is what he said. You know what I mean? So he don't have to worry about that one-hitter quitter aspect when fighting Tyson Fury, you would think. But hey, maybe he comes in overconfident, trying to, jab his way in and get caught with a right hand or something, or a left hook that he doesn't see coming. But if he can find a way to be effective with his jab, take Tyson Fury jab away, cut the ring off on him, land some good body shots, work the body, work upstairs. I mean, who knows, man? It's very entertaining, very intriguing fight. Jahash Smith says, who wins, Briggs or Fury? I'm going to go with Fury. Paula Wells says, Don King should be in jail. He did his... you talk about the shit he did after, when he got out of jail. Yeah, for some of the stuff he was... From what I'm hearing from fighters, man, like, like I said, like Witherspoon and the guys that... he did a lot of bogus stuff, man. Especially with the contract and the wording of the contracts, and a lot of bogus stuff. He brought us some excitement. He definitely made the heavyweight division alive again. He did some bogus shit when he put together that those fights he had on ABC. Have you guys heard that story, that the fights he put on ABC, he was like, they were like fixed fights? Was it ABC or CBS back? It was way back in the day. It was like some tournament that he was doing, man, and I forget the details of it, man. But you guys should look that up, man. Just look up Don King. I believe it was ABC or CBS. The fights were on that channel, and they were like fixed fights, and it was just some crazy shit, man, that Don King was involved in, allegedly. But going into the 80s when he put together, not to even mention what he did in the 70s with Ali and Foreman, but going into the 80s, and not even talking about the Chavez seniors and other fighters he dealt with, but just the heavyweight in particular, when he put together that tournament to have an undisputed, that's awesome, man. And it was Michael Spinks that didn't want to be involved in it. You know what I mean? Spinks said, to hell with that. I'm not about to fight Tony Tucker. You know what I mean? I'm not about to fight Mike Tyson. Spinks wanted to fight the Tangsteds and the Coonies of the world. You know what I mean? He beat Holmes twice, which I guess that's what the judges say, right? But anyways, Don King putting together a tournament for undisputed, I respect that. And he tried to include Spinks. Spinks and Butch Lewis, got to give them their props as smart businessmen. They, even though I'd rather guys just go in there and fight, but as far as their team, they got they got much more money holding out, letting the tournament take place, and then fighting the winner, because in their eyes, they're looking at it like, shit, we're the lineal champ. We're the ones that beat Larry Holmes twice when he was undefeated, took the titles away. So how about y'all partake in this tournament and we'll fight the winner? Smart. That's smart for him. You know what I mean? But credit to Don King for trying to include all the top heavyweights of that time and come to one undisputed champion. Tyson ended up winning the tournament, obviously. Went undisputed. And then just to make sure there were no discrepancies about who the man was, he beat Michael Spinks for that lineal, You know what I mean? So, and even going into the 90s, you know, King would try to make the best. The only thing with King though is if you went against his fighter like Mike Tyson, or you know his best fighter in the stable like Mike Tyson, he would try to have these deals with the guy that beat Tyson if they were to win to have like to have options on them. You know what I mean? So if you beat Mike, I got options on your next 3 fights. It was that type of shit that Don used to do, man. That used to make me scratch my head. Like, damn, Don, like, it's okay not to have the heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? You got to get you know, maybe Mike could work his way back, or maybe you get another heavyweight that can come up and make something happen. But we know Don King was known for literally in the ring, stepping over his beaten fighter and celebrating with the new champ. That's Don King for you, man. That's Don King for you. Let's see. D.O.B. Newley says, Bellew won't go anywhere near Fury. He wants Fury when Fury is rusty. Bellew is a scumbag cherry picker. Grandmaster Flash says, it's not a cultural thing. Hearn got plenty of haters in the UK. Okay. Because according to, and that's one thing I was thinking about. It was like, I believe it was after the Takam fight. Was it the Takam fight? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Or was it the Vladimir fight? It was one of the fights where literally when Hearn started to talk, the whole crowd, like 70,000 people were booing this dude. And then AJ was kind of like, nah, come on, guys. And then they cheered. One, it made me notice Joshua has all these damn people in the palm of his hand. That's what the first thing I thought. Then the second thing I thought was like, damn, all these people hate Eddie Hearn. So that's why I was thinking, like, now, fast forward to now, it's like, or maybe it's a Dillian White. It was one of those damn fights, man. But now, fast forward to now, Hearn can say anything wrong to a lot of fans. That's the assumption that I had. You know, so it was good for one of you UK guys to clear that up, man. Because I'm just thinking now, like, damn, I heard 80,000 people boo the dude. Now, he doesn't lie. And the dude's he just lies a lot to me, man. State Clint says Larry Holmes was cheated of his 48 and 49 fights for Rocky's record. I believe that. Me and my father had a long conversation about that before. Yes, I really do believe that. Now, did Spinks go in there and fight an ugly fight? We know how Spinks fights, you know, very erratic and just a weird, awkward style. And Spinks was a damn good fighter himself, man. Him and his brother, both gold medalists. Leon was a damn good amateur, off subject a little bit. But Leon had like 150 knockouts in the amateurs. Like some crazy amount of knockouts as an amateur, man. Like, I think he was like 175 wins with just a few losses and like 150 knockouts. But the Spinks brothers were damn good fighters. You know what I mean? But I don't think Spinks, watching those fights, man, I just don't think he won those fights, yo. I just don't. And I've done post-fight breakdowns of those fights. It is what it is, man. Shout out to Michael Spinks, though. Mr. Boxing All That says, I think Lennox Lewis would be a dominant in any era because of his versatility, size, agility, and power, including now. You damn right. I can't even dispute that. I definitely 110,000% agree with that, man. Jahaj Smith says, just got here. Who wins, Briggs or Fury? I think I went up a little bit too far in the comments, but I'm going with Fury. Joshua Spencer says, Vampire Stream. Yeah, yep. Just all black right now, man. You know, it's where I'm at right now. I came down here at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what time it is now. And I was just putting, it's probably about 4 where I'm at, 4 in the morning. I just came out here to really put some, my kids' school uniforms in the dryer. Had my phone. I was like, man, you know what? Let me do a video. So it's a last minute video. Derek Robbins was good. He says, successful people are always hated. Yeah, to some degree, yeah. And people who lie a lot to other people are always hated too. Paula Wells says, hey, is sadly just a shell. Time to throw in the towel. Yeah, he's just a shell. Even, you know, and during the weigh-in, and don't get it twisted. For a guy that's close to 40, shit, even if he wasn't in his 40s, David Haye physically, like his physique, he looks the part still. He looks the part. But under that armor is a lot of rust. Lot of rust under that armor, man. That's why I don't get big on physiques and ripping six packs. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to come in like a fat slob, you know what I mean? But at the same time, though, gotta look under that core, man. You know what I mean? It looks the part, but them legs aren't the same, man. Them legs aren't the same. Mr. Boxing All Day says, "What up, brother? Smash that like button." Yeah, man, smash that like button, y'all. Stay Clint says, "I meant in a joking comparison to Briggs." He said, "I meant in a jokey comparison to Briggs versus Fury." Tall Short One says, "Bill, you beat Apollo Creed's son." He said, "Bill, you beat Apollo Creed's son." All right. Steve Inzalico says, "I agree." Stay Clint says, "I would pick Briggs to beat Hay." What's good, Steve? As he says, "You heard AJ interview at Bellew's fight. He said 95% Wilder fight this year." Shit, fingers crossed. But then I've also heard a lot of things from AJ. So as far as something positive, that is a positive. I'm not taking that away. If it's 95% close to being done, especially if it happens this year, shit, I'm all for it. Then I'll shut the hell up and watch the fight like everybody else wants to. D. Benuli says, "Easy work for Ward. Ward too smart." Man, well, I'm way behind on the comments. Y'all talking about the Ward Bellew. Shit, I'm way behind on comments. Let me try to run through these fast then. Uh, My Sports says, "What do you think about Eddie Hearn wanting Chisora versus Miller?" Well, I'm not sure how Miller feels about that. I don't think he wants to fight Chisora. Not that he's scared, but I think he wants something more, something more glossy than that, man. You know, maybe like a Dillian White. Obviously, he wants the Anthony Joshua fight, but stylistically, I think it's a damn good fight. Both guys will not have to go looking for each other in the ring. I think they'll fight right in the middle of the ring and slug it out. So for us, I think it's a very entertaining fight. Um, it's a good fight. I wonder what Miller thinks about that, and Chisora. I wonder what they. I think Chisora will take it because shit, it's another undefeated guy he can get in the ring with. He had a good fight with Dillian White, who's a younger guy. I think this would be a damn good fight. I like it. I'm curious to see what Miller thinks about it though. But shit, Miller fought, Johan Duipa and Wok and guys like that. So I want to see why he'll be offended by the fight. But I think he wants bigger fish to fry, as they say. But me as a fan though, I think it's a good stylistic matchup. Like I said, both guys would not have to go looking for each other. It'd be an inside fight, body punches, uppercuts, um, shoulder to shoulder. David Turner says 6'9". Apparently he had bad posture. Okay, you probably talking about the height of Tyson Fury. I mean, the dude well maybe 6'9". Just that when I see him stand next to certain people, he doesn't look like he's 6'9". Probably 6'7", 6'8", 6'7.5", something like that. But regardless, the dude is still a tall ass heavyweight, man. I'm kind of nitpicking with that, but it's just the photos I seen with Price. It was just kind of like, damn, is he really 6'9"? Steve Inzalico says, "Stewart, the master trainer of the heavyweights with a great one too." Man, Stewart was best trainer, man, in my opinion. Mala2243 was good, man. Okay, you talking to Steve. But what's good anyways, though? Okay, Mala2243 says, "Bellew would be too small for Fury." Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but at the same time, 6'3", 6'4", somewhere in there is Tony Bellew. That's not too small, but uh, he'll definitely be giving up the reach advantage and the weight. Um, and Fury isn't a guy that goes in there and uses. Well, he did use his size against Cunningham. When Cunningham put him down, I think he was embarrassed that he got dropped. Then he started to put pressure and started to be aggressive against Cunningham. So I think he brings that aggression in Uh, be very entertaining if he were to do that. But I think him using his size, not necessarily in that way, but just on the keep you on the outside of my jab. Once they get tied up, I believe it will be a wrap for Bellew if they get tied up in clinches. I don't think he has the strength to get Fury off of him. And I seen Fury, he was able to, how can I put it? Fury was able to wrap up Vladimir Klitschko in a clinch and was able to take control of those clinches. Now we know Vladimir, when he gets you in the clinch, it's hard to get out of his clinches, man. You right? And Fury was manhandling Vlad in certain situations in that fight. So if he's able to do that against Vlad, definitely Bellew has, in my opinion, has no chance of breaking out of clinches or being able to get good effective work off in clinches or in the clinch or even in the trenches, in my opinion. Mala2243 says, remember when Ruiz got KO by David 2 in 19 seconds and it was the only good fighter he had faced? He then signed with Don King and was the #1 contender straight away. Yes, I do remember David Tua knocking out Ruiz. His head bounced. Was it a left hook? His head bounced off the canvas. It was ugly by the ropes. Also remember Tua knocking out Michael Moore vicious too. Man, Tua has some nasty knockouts, man. He had one of the best left hooks I've ever seen. He could generate a lot of power. His classic with Abel Buche, his fights with Rockman. Tua was a damn good fighter. After 3 says, what's up, Mr. Boxing? What it do, man? What's good? Punch Quote, formerly Triple H 1200, says Arum does the same thing. I'm assuming you're talking about robbing fighters, yeah. Or, being sneaky and sly with fighters, yeah. A lot of these dudes do the same thing, man. That's why I'm pro fighter. God of War says, after the Vlad fight, they all booed him. Yeah, it was that fight. Okay, that was the fight then that they all booed Eddie Hearn. I was just sitting there like, damn, why are they booing this dude? And I never really followed like Eddie Hearn like until all this, the whole starting last year when it was Dillian White should fight Wilder. When all that stuff started going on is when I really started paying attention to the guy Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? So I never was really a follower of his, like all his, like his interviews and things like that. But once I started listening to him, started scratching my head a little bit. He started to contradict himself from interview to interview, in my opinion. But I actually, believe it or not, and some of the fans that have said they're going to unsub for my channel, believe it or not, I actually stood up for Eddie Hearn when it was when Vladimir and AJ were first, when they were rumored to fight, right? And AJ elected to fight Molina, and then if they were saying that Vlad, this is before the fight happened, they're saying that Vlad's going to show up at the fight, and if AJ beats Molina, then Vlad will fight him. And I remember people saying, no, Hearn wouldn't do that. He's just milking Vlad's name to add promotion to this shitty fight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, nah, man, I think Hearn's going to put the kid in there because right now, if you're going to have this kid fight Vladimir, do it now. Do it when he just lost his last fight. He's a little bit rough. Like, do it now. And I had faith in Hearn putting him, Joshua in there with Vladimir, and I thought AJ would win the fight. People were tearing me down in the comment sections. You don't know what you're talking about. Just because I was getting comments like, just because he's black with muscles, you're being biased. And I'm sitting here like, what are you talking about? And now, fast forward to now, people think I'm an AJ hater. And, so it is what it is. Chatterboxing, what it do, my man? He says, how's it going, mate? I'm chilling, man. Chilling, man. Y'all go sub to Chatterboxing. Good channel. Grimace 08, what's good, man? He says, yo, Mr. Boxing, Miller versus Brazil. Who wins? I got Big Baby. Easy motherfucking work. I'm gonna go with Miller. Brazil's just too easy to hit, man. Like, I give Brazil credit for playing college football for 4 years and then literally just picking up boxing. Usually, man, when you do stuff like that, usually, but it seems like it's happening more and more, especially in this era of American heavyweights. guys coming off the basketball court and American football fields and things of that nature, even coming out of working in factories, which is something that's always happened as far as working jobs. But for a guy to play college football as a quarterback and to go to the gym and say, huh, I'm going to try boxing, and then literally make the Olympics within a couple years, uh, and then be in heavyweight title fights doesn't happen a lot. It's rare. You know what I mean? Although it's starting to happen more now, but he's just too easy to hit. He's just way too easy to hit, man. And Miller, I think, would pressure him, but with Miller pressuring him, Brazil will get a chance to land his shots. But I think Miller body work, I think the body work will break Brazil down. The pressure and the body work. When Mansour was pressuring Brazil, he didn't look comfortable in there. He didn't look comfortable at all. Now, Joshua's pressure is a little bit different. He's a taller fighter, more straighter punches. You know, it's a different type of dynamic in there. Whereas Miller gonna be crouching down a little bit. He goes from about 6'4" to about 6'1" because he crouches down, digging to the body. I think he'll put some of that Amir Mansour pressure on him, and he won't fade. Like, I know Mansour bit his tongue and was swallowing blood, so on and so forth. But I do think that Brazil had a lot to do with that cut on his tongue by punching him in his mouth. You know what I mean? You got to give the guy credit for punching him in his mouth. And I think Miller would do some of the things that Fred Cassie was doing to Brazil. I thought Cassie beat him. Tell you the truth, I thought Cassie beat Brazil and Areola, or at least a draw, in my opinion. But I think he'll kind of do a mixture of what Mansour and Cassie was doing. And I think he will eventually stop him. Sir Cryptimus Prime says, Mr. Boxing, sometimes your voice sounds like Richard Dwyer. Had me thinking of making a bet just now. Man, what does Dwyer say? Remember, I'm just a guy online. Damn, what is... Shout out to Dwyer, man. I've been watching Dwyer for about, shit, man, about 8 years now. About 8 years. I think Blood is the guy I've been watching the longest. I think I've been watching Blood since about '07. '07, I think. I think I've been watching Blood for about 11, 12 years now. But guys like Blood Boxing, Richard Dwyer, D-Style Boxing, guys been watching for anywhere from 8 to 12 years, man. I like Dwyer's channel. We don't agree on a lot of stuff. Some of his predictions, you know, but we all get predictions wrong. But shout out to Dwyer, though. Chatterboxing says Miller would batter Chisora. He might. I could definitely see that happen. He's like a fresher, younger version almost, with a little bit more added to his game, in my opinion, and a lot bigger. Grimace always says Vlad wore high heel inserts in his shoes against AJ and Fury. AJ and Fury are both taller than Vlad, but Fury probably 6'8", no 6'9". Derek Robbins says, who care about 1 inch? Nobody. I'm just making an observation, bro. Just making an observation, Derek. And when you're in the ring, it really doesn't matter. I'm just telling. Well, y'all be taking it too serious. I'm just saying he doesn't seem like he's a full 6'9" compared to standing next to Price. The dude went on to beat Vladimir Klitschko, so obviously the 1 inch or whatever my opinion is about it doesn't mean anything, right? Grandmaster Flash says Miller's like a more talented version of Chisora. Man, I just said that. We agree on that. State Clint says maybe that's why Price is wobbly. He's got spongy lifts in his shoes. I don't know. All right, let me see here. J-Rue Damage. Y'all remember the rapper back in the day, J-Rue the Damage? But anyways, J-Rue Damage says, since we know Fury will knock out Briggs, that fight should be free. I know Briggs is I don't know. I hope that wouldn't be a pay-per-view fight over there in the UK for y'all. That'd be kind of bogus. Grimace always says, yeah, exactly. Wilder Brazil is trash. Easy KO for Wilder. At least Miller would be a harder fight than Brazil. I do believe that. I think he would be a harder fight. Lawrence Williams, what's good, man? What's good, Lawrence? Definitely appreciate, well, I appreciate all you guys, but I definitely appreciate a guy guys like Lawrence Williams who have appreciation for my older videos when I talk about guys from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I really do. I know a lot of you guys probably younger, you just care about what's going on in the now, and that's cool too. I appreciate everybody's comments. But I really appreciate the subscribers I have, man. They appreciate the older, they have appreciation for the old school. You know what I mean? Just like Grand Pooba said, I wouldn't be here today if the old school didn't pave the way. You know what I mean? So, but Lawrence says Fury without box Bellew and not abandon his game plan like Hay did for the record. The first 2 rounds until he fell into a firefight. Yes, I thought Hay won the first few rounds too. Then yeah, he looked pretty decent, and then he got into a firefight. And then what's so funny, man, is if you were to tell me Bellew and Hay gets into a firefight, who wins out? I will probably say Hay, because you would just perceive that he has he's the harder puncher. But that's where sometimes technique can come into play, where you're throwing those looping shots and you're missing, and the guy's able to get off his shots between your looping hooks, or he's able to counter your hook. And that's what Bellew was doing. And he was countering on key parts of Hay, hitting him off the side of the temple, hitting him on the jaw. You know what I mean? Cracking him. And Hay didn't even see these shots coming, man. Damn, an hour and 12 minutes I went already. Appreciate y'all comments, man. I'm gonna wrap this up, but let me see. Sean Max says Dwyer is the man. Yeah, go sub to Dwyer too, man. If you guys haven't subbed, I'm pretty sure if you guys know on my channel, you know of Dwyer's channel. Lazarus Wunbemal, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. He says blood boxing and sporting icons are 2 biased channels, and of course Boxing Voice also. Well, if that's your opinion, if that's your opinion, Blood is one of the best channels in my opinion. Now, talking about some of this recent stuff with the AJ and Hearn. Now, if you're on side of Hearn and AJ and things like that, then you're going to think a lot of shit he says is biased. A lot of the shit that I see from Blood is in response to people going at him. But when it comes to and that's another thing, you guys can't, well, you can do what you want, but you shouldn't be so selective on the videos you want to watch of his. What about his 1980, the year of 1980 heavyweight review? That's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best videos of the year, hands down, period. His 1980 heavyweight review, where he reviews the whole year of 1980. What about that work? What about the work he does when he's talking about Ken Norton? And see, it is what it is. I can't make you like the dude, but over the years, man, over the 12 years I watched him, he's put some great historical content together. Hands down, some of the best stuff I've seen on YouTube. Even when I watch some of the old documentaries, I would put some of his stuff in there with stuff that I like to watch, man. So, but as far as guys having people who they like, whether it's sporting icons, I know he's a big Dillian White fan and stuff like that. It is what it is, man. People are going to like who they like. They're going to dislike who they dislike. And, it is what it is. But as far as putting down history videos and talking about the sport from the 50s, from Joe Louis to Sam Blankford to Ali to Marciano to Holyfield, things of that nature, Blood is one of the best, in my opinion, from videos that I've seen over the last 11, 12 years. Boxing Voice, they do good work, in my opinion. I do think they're pro Wilder, but again, shit, I think IFL TV is pro AJ. So, what are we really doing here? Are we going to nitpick? You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. Fight Hype, I think, is pro Floyd Mayweather. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and it is what it is, man. So Christmas Prime says, everyone here older than 30 because we knew Jay were the damager. Yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. That was with my shit back in the day. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I can talk hip hop all day too. As far as my hobbies, things to talk about, NBA, basketball, boxing, obviously, and hip hop, I can talk all day all day. That's stuff I grew up on, man. And 70s funk. 70s funk. I could talk about that all day. 80s R&B, man, all day long. D. Obi Newley says, Blood Boxing Channel is hilarious. I like his shit, but until Wilder AJ fight, I'm going to avoid them LDBC dudes. Hey man, it is what it is. Shout out to the LDBC. You know what's funny, man, that I noticed is a lot of, and this is what I noticed, a lot of UK fans have started, well, not just UK fans, but a lot of fans that just don't like the LDBC, right? They'll group uploaders into the LDBC who have never said they're LDBC. Ego Boxing has never said he's LDBC. Dante Boxing Nation has never said he's LDBC. So for me, when I look at that, it's like, man, wow, you know what? The LDBC right now is so powerful. You have fans believing just every black uploader is LDBC. That's crazy. That's how powerful that is. Cause I'm sitting here like they're like, yeah, these LDBC channels like Ego, and I'm sitting here thinking like, Ego's not LDBC. And as far as me, I was cool with 78 Sports, Blood Boxing, Black Fight Fan TV, all these channels before it was called the LDBC. Way before it was called the LDBC. So if I'm grouped into that, I'm fine with that. Shouts out to the LDBC, man. I don't see nothing wrong with a group of fans, man, that just want to see things to be presented evenly. Because if we leave it up to Boxing Scene, IFL TV, Fight News, Fight Hype, whoever, if we leave it up to them just to give us our news, some of the fighters who they shouldn't be shitting on, or fighters who they don't give enough respect and credit to, they'll never get that credit or respect. Never. So we need another voice. We need other voices. Whether you agree with them or not, we need other voices. You don't have to agree with them. Us, me, however you want to label this shit. You don't have to agree. But I'd be damned if we just sitting here listening to just one side shit on. And it seems to be, you know, like when Terrence Crawford was doing his thing, he was getting shit on by a lot of fans. Deontay Wilder, and it's like a trend. It's like a trend. We need to put a stop to that trend. LDBC is doing that. You don't have to like it, but I see it. I mean, I've been on the boxing since social media and boxing, you know, kind of intertwined. I've been here the whole time looking at this shit. And I'm glad there's other voices. That's just me. You don't have to agree with me. And I'm pretty sure some of you won't, but it is what it is. But that's how powerful that is, to where people think just every African-American uploader is LDBC. I was just sitting there. I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn. It's pretty damn powerful. And for those channels you think there are just Deontay Wilder fanboys, well, what about the channels that are AJ fanboys? You guys get what I'm saying here? Like, we can go back and forth with this. Grimbus says, who spits and flows harder than Rakim versus Nas? Rakim. Rakim's the originator, man. His flow, his cadence, the wordplay, the delivery, the metaphors, just the wordplay. Nas is a good storyteller, but Rakim his shit just hit harder, man. His beat selection, especially for that point in time, even now, them beats still sound dope. Just a little bit better than Nas, in my opinion, but Nas is definitely up there, though. And Rakim seemed more powerful on the mic, his voice, in my opinion. J. Rue Damage says, is there such thing as the best ever lyricist rapper? To some people, a lot of people think Eminem is, you know what I mean? I've heard Rakim, Karis One, Pac, Big. You know what I mean? It's to each his own, man. Coogee Rap was another one that I liked. Uh, See, I can be here all day with this shit. And you can't forget about the West Coast. Ice Cube, definitely one of the best lyricists I've ever heard. The DOC before he got his in his car accident. That album he had, uh, some of the best lyrics I've heard. I mean, Sir Cypress Prime says Lions Den boxing community. Yes, indeed. Uh, Big Daddy Kane's another one. Yeah, I see Six Williams just said that. We go all day, man. We go all day. Let me go all day on that. Grimace always says Game versus Lloyd Banks, who wins a freestyle. I think Game's a better freestyler. I think Banks has hard ass punchlines, but I think Banks has hard ass punchlines. So does Game, but I like Game's flow a little bit better. It's not so set up with, you know, couple lines. You know what I mean? A couple lines, hard punchline. Couple lines, hard punchline. It's like his shit's more fluid. It's more believable when Game says it. Um, then he has that gangster shit in there too, man. Not that obviously Banks does that too, but I think I think his punchline is a little bit more harder, but I think Game's overall flow is better. Lazarus, one, but no, he says, came here for boxing, not rapping. I'm out, guys. Peace out, bro. Deuces. Grimace always says Banks spitting the heat on Hot 97. Who killed Tupac? All right, now, y'all tripping now, man. I don't know who killed Pac. I mean, I have my theories, but that's another whole video. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. Good chopping it up with y'all. Let me read one more comment. Yeah, I'm not going to shit on nobody's channel. I see somebody leaving comments about other people's channels shitting. I'm not going to shit on nobody's channel. It is what it is. You know, people got their own thing. They do their own thing. I do my own thing. Brian W. Jameson says, I say you're the fairest on here, Mr. Boxing. I switch off when people get personal, but you keep it boxing, and your knowledge is on par too. I appreciate that, man. All right, y'all. Good chopping up with y'all, man. I'm out of here. Y'all be good. Y'all be easy, man. I'm gone.